Welcome to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you, Johanna. Thanks for this interview and thanks for your time. It's a pleasure to talk with you about from Lucifer, this new album, Lucifer 5, and obviously more things related in general for the metal, rock in general around the world. So we're starting by asking, how was the band been during the last 3 years? Because Lucifer 4 was released in 2021. Now we have a Lucifer 5 3 years later.
Yes, that had to do with the pandemic. We had Lucifer 3 and 4 released during the pandemic, and we couldn't tour in support of it. So I think we've just been kind of busy because the two albums were released within 1 year, and I think that was a good time to take a short break and focus on playing live. After the world was starting to open up again. And so now we have another album. I don't think 3 years is too long because we still have, in 10 years of Lucifer, 5 albums. So it's not too shabby.
Yes. So, we're talking about from these 10 years is curious because this 5 album marks the 10 years of existence from Lucifer, because the foundation of the band was in 2014. And perhaps with this Lucifer 5, you are doing like some kind of celebration for the first 10 years of the band, and this album perhaps it's a good motive to do a celebration.
Yes, actually, I didn't even think about it that it's 10 years until recently. So it's a kind of like a coincidence that it comes out. So in March, it's going to be 10 years exactly. So it coincides, but it's good. I think that kind of makes sense. 5 is a good number to match with 10 years, I think.
Yes. Now, talking about, well, I saw the last year you did a gig in Latin America, Brazil, and other countries here. So how was your first experience here during Latin America? Did perhaps you hear this obviously from other musicians in Europe that the Latin American people are so passionate, so this kind of aspect. And did you receive this kind of passion on your audio presentations in Latin America?
Yes, absolutely. It's great. I mean, what band doesn't love to tour Latin America? You do have very enthusiastic fans, and they are very giving, they're very sweet. They want photos, they bring you little gifts, you really hear it in the audience when you play. The noise from the audience cheering it's a whole different story compared to playing a show in Germany, where a lot of people are like this, So it's a lot more rewarding to play, in Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Mexico. That's where we've been last time. So I'm looking very forward to the next Latin America tour that we are planning right.
Okay, nice to hear. So your camera is so up, so I can see really.
I forgot.
Okay, now it's
I was looking at you. That's it. Okay.
No worries. So, other curious things about Lucifer for me, especially, is that since your first album, Lucifer grew up very fast in the media, on the musicians around the world. Because I remember when I hear the first album, then the second one, the third one, and now you are with Nuclear Blast, a big label around the world. So how did you see this growing fast on your career with Lucifer?
It doesn't feel so fast. It was a lot of work to grow into this place, yeah. Yeah, because I kind of do everything myself. I do all the management and so on. So for me, it's more than a full-time job. I work all day, it's a lot of office work. It's very boring to be in a band nowadays because the creative part is a small percentage, which is a shame because that's my favorite part, of course, is working on music and doing visual things and so on. But yeah, so I think the great thing about Lucifer is that it didn't have like a quick, what do you call that? Like a quick hype and then it dies again. I think it's a slow growing process. but we have a very loyal fan base. You can see that, the people that like Lucifer, they stay with us. And we add a few more people with every album that we release. So it's slow grower, but it's reliable. So the curve never went down. Every time we release an album, we sell a few more records. So it's good. I mean, we do everything with a lot of passion, and we really love our band, and we put a lot of energy into it. And I think people recognize that. They see that we really mean it, and we're honest about it. We don't sell out with like a modern production or anything. I think we managed to stay true to ourselves.
Mm, nice, nice, nice. Interesting to know. So other aspects about the Lucifer is the name of the albums, because as you can see, Lucifer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 albums, and you put just Lucifer 5. So what did you decide to put since the beginning? 1, 2, obviously in Roman numbers. So what did you decide to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and not like the mostly of the bands put perhaps a song from this new album, perhaps Lucifer new album will be Immaculate Heart, perhaps.
Well, every album I am thinking about it. And actually, on this fifth album, I was saying to Nika, shall we take a song title instead? Or shall we, name the album Lucifer 5 and then something, like Danzig had Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. Um, and Nika said, no, you should keep it how it is. And then I thought, yeah, it makes sense, especially up until now. 5 is a good number as a kind of milestone for Lucifer. But who knows what's going to happen next year? Maybe next year we're going to release Lucifer 666. No, I'm kidding. Or Lucifer self-titled, or or yeah, something from an album title. I don't know. I'm open to that. It's not dogmatic. It doesn't have to be exactly how we've done.
Okay, okay. Other aspects is inevitable to ask us about Nick and compositions, because Nick is very well-known musicians for Entombed, the Brit Nihilist. He's like the father of one of the fathers of the Swedish death metal. Every knows him.
Mhm.
So how was the composition process in this new era with Nick playing heavy doom, because it's very far from the death metal. It's not like death metal that he played at the beginnings, at the end of the 80s or beginnings of 90s. And so, how was the composition process on Lucifer? He did all compositions for the music, guitar parts, or perhaps you included more influence on the records of Lucifer.
Well, we write everything together. So both of us get
Mm.
on the songs usually 50-50% songwriting. So yeah, maybe Nikke has not played in a doom band, but he of course loves Black Sabbath, which is one of the main influences for Lucifer. And he sees it, I guess, as a challenge. So let me explain it like this. When after the first album, and Gaz Jennings, who I wrote the first album with, left Lucifer, I was talking to Nick on the phone, and he said, how about you and I write together? And I said, no, I don't want that, because you're my boyfriend, and what if something happens and we break up? Then I'm fucked. I can't have relationship and band mixed, because that's really bad luck. That's not good. And he's like, no, 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 let's write together. He really had to convince me. And then I guess he wanted to prove to me that he can do it. So he sent me some things, some demos, and I started working on it. And the first song that came out of that was Dreamer, that we did together. And I guess Dreamer is kind of like our most popular song. But anyways, I think he really enjoys that Lucifer is very different from all his other bands. And he can, I think he also enjoys that he's not the boss in Lucifer, because he's the boss of the helicopters and Entombed and all that. But in Lucifer, I'm the boss. And ultimately, I will make the decision, which way to go and which way not to go and so on. And I think he kind of enjoys that. You know, it's different from his other work because in his other bands, he doesn't write with other people together. He writes alone, and he writes for himself to sing in the helicopters. While when we do something for Lucifer, I do my vocal parts. I compose my vocal melodies and stuff, you know. So I think it's great for him because he has, you know, he has so much to give. He plays so many different instruments, and he loves that he can play drums in Lucifer. And he can expand on all his talents, you know, with the band.
Okay. One thing that you said is about your voice, because usually in all reviews that I read, and we did in Metallic also, the more important thing about this situation is your voice. So how do you maintain or keep the same essence since the beginning to now in your voice? How is the methods to keep singing like you sing since the beginning to now?
I have never really done anything. I have not taken any vocal lessons or so. I used to just smoke a lot of cigarettes and have a drink before the show, um, which is obviously not a good idea when you want to sing like I do. It's very elaborate. But I think my problem was that I always had a very clean, kind of almost like a pop voice by nature, which always annoyed me. I always hated my voice. And because I always thought my voice is not rock and roll enough. It's not rough enough, you know, and that's why I would always, you know, smoke a lot of cigarettes and, you know, try to get get it more rockin'. I guess that comes naturally with age a little bit. I actually just stopped smoking like 4 or 5 months ago or something now. Sometimes I have like a party cigarette, but I don't smoke every day anymore. And I have started to, like, at shows, instead of drinking alcohol on stage, I have a cup with hot sage tea, you know, because it does help. So there's things I do now because it's also it's more professional. First of all, I noticed I play better shows if I don't drink alcohol before and during the show, or maybe not more than only one glass of white wine or something. But other than that, you know, I will never play drunk shows again like I used to, because I used to be scared of playing live. And I try to really, you know, deliver for what people pay for. You know, they pay money to see us play, and they want to have a good vocal delivery. And I'm trying my best to do that.
Mm.
That's why for me, I see it not as like a party going on stage. I take it really serious. And I take care of my voice. I do a little bit warm up before the show also now, which I used to not do because I always thought that's not rock and roll. Lemmy would never warm up his voice, you know.
Yes.
But I guess I have to. I also curse myself because I record these like really high pitched vocals, you know, it goes really up and down a lot, and it's a lot of vocals. So I don't really get time to chill on stage. I actually have to really focus, you know, because I'm so stupid that when we record for the album, of course, it's easy in the studio, you know, to do all kinds of magic tricks with your voice. But live, it's a different beast, you know, to sing for like over an hour, you know, and entertain and move around and all that. I have a lot of respect for, you know, singers like Bruce Dickinson or somebody who's like very elaborate with their
Okay.
vocals and then run around this crazy big stage and stuff. It's not easy to do. Mm.
Yes. Yes, yes. And talking about this aspect, one thing that I remember last year that it has a lot of polemic into there is about the backing tracks in stage. As you can see, a lot of musicians like Vince Neil from Motley Crue use this kind of backing tracks to play live. According to some musicians, I remember with a lot of musicians, they one of them says that is if you can use and the people like it, no matter what, it's no problem. If the people like it to use in backing tracks, it's okay. But another people say that is if you don't, we don't like Bruce Dickinson never will use these backing tracks live because he prefers to he prefers use his way to sing it because more organic in some ways. So for you, what's your point of view about the situation, about the now this like the polemic things about the backing tracks on live, for especially for the vocalists?
Well, I would never use it. I will try to I hope that even when I get older, that my voice permits it. But I think you can train that, you know, if you put effort in it and you sing on a regular basis, I think you can maintain your voice. I would never ever use a backing track, but I don't know. I don't want to judge people, you know. I mean, of course, I have more respect for people like Bruce when they say something like this, because that's how I would do it. But, you know, if there's like, let's say a singer that's in their 70s and the voice is not so much there anymore, and but people still want to see that person live, I don't know. Um, to each their own. It's yeah. I don't know what to say, because other people would say, you know, oh, if you can't do it anymore, just retire. But that's easy to say for an outsider, you know, because the musicians that are at a certain age, they would maybe die if they wouldn't perform live, because that's all they know in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there is still people that want to pay for a ticket because they just want to see that singer, you know. But like I said, I would never do it. Lucifer is a very organic band, and we do everything live. There's no click tracks, you know, there's no tricks or anything. It's just us, and I'm very proud of that. So
Okay, okay. Well, that is true. That is depends in this case from the vocals. About that's normal. So other detail that I saw usually when a band plays heavy rock or we influence with Black Sabbath, this kind of stuff, usually the lyrics lean down to the occultism, magic, this kind of aspect. And I saw your environment, your background there is like it's like you preach, like it's some occultism, magic, this kind of aspect. I see that you have a lot of books, and perhaps one of the books explain about the occultism, this kind of aspect, perhaps who knows. So what kind of affiliation do you have for the occultism since you're in your point of view? And why do you say to talk about occultism, magic, this kind of apps? What motivates you to talk about these matters?
yes, I have a lot of occult books behind the
Yes.
pump.
Yes, yes.
I started being really interested in this when I was a teenager. I mean, it started with um, my interest in heavy metal when I was 13, 14. And then when I was 16, I worked at an esoteric occult bookshop in Berlin after school. And I think it's a longing for giving meaning to life and to death and to everything beyond, you know. And that is, I mean, I don't find any religion that I would like to convert to, but I find interesting angles and perspectives on life. Even in Christianity, you can find interesting views, you know, on things. But none of the different religions or cults or, you know, whatever you call it, is completely 100% something that would be the key for me to understand existence and non-existence. And it's difficult. I have two hearts that are beating in my chest, because I think I'm on this planet, and when I die, which can be tomorrow, you know, can have like a stupid accident or something. I am very clumsy. So, so then I'm going to be dead forever. And I was also dead forever before I was born. So life is only like a really small window, yeah, of existence. And my first thought is scientific, and that's okay, I'm gonna die, and either they cremate me or they, you know, put me into the ground, and I'm gonna be eaten by maggots, and that's it. My conscience is gone. But that's kind of how I feel. But at the same time, I want there to be more. because there's quite a few people by now that are very close to me that have died, you know, and I have big problems coming to terms and grasping death, and I think that's why there's so many lyrics in Lucifer about death. And there's this wish that there is more, you know, and that's why there's so many songs about people coming back from the dead, or about ghosts, you know, or like you can see in the video, you know, with the zombie. It's obviously my ex-lover that's coming back to me, and it's like wishful thinking, because the people that I was close to that have died, I can't get over it. It haunts me and it hurts me, and I know it will hurt me until I die myself. And so I think a lot about death, and I don't know, there's so many different feelings about death. You know, death can be a great comforter, because it's like, it doesn't matter how shit things are on this earth and what problems one has and stuff, because in the end, it doesn't matter, because you're going to die anyways. Or, I don't know, I'm broke. But what does it matter? Even if I was rich, I'm going to die. And then I can't stuff the pockets of my last shirt that I'm
Mm.
wearing. Right? It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor when you die, because you can't take anything with you. Um, but it's really difficult for me to make sense of everything, and I really wish there was more. And I think that's why I'm so interested in the occult.
Okay, interesting, very, very interesting answer about your point of occultism, because usually when we talk about a lot of bands talking about the occultism, like Behemoth, one example, because they love to be Satanism people, or they want to believe in Satanism, and a lot of people do the relationships, Satanism, occultisms, and perhaps a name with a demon on their cover arts for the bands. So that's why when I hear for the first time, I remember when I see the first time Lucifer and occultism. Obviously, it's normal to relate Satanism with sulfur, this kind of aspect. So for you, how was the conception to put Lucifer with occultism lyrics, and obviously I think try to piece off something with when you put try to be somewhere, or someone say, hey, we are Lucifer, even we are living in century 21, but even the people are pissed off when you see or they're angry when you see Lucifer is because it's annoying. It's still annoying for so many people.
I don't really care. They can fuck off. Well, you know, I mean, I do identify with the figure of Lucifer, because Lucifer is a misfit, and Lucifer is an outsider, and I have always been an outsider my whole life, you know. So I mean, since I was little, you know, I was the only metalhead in my school, you know, and I think a lot of people had a problem with me because of how I was, you know. Hey, Morticia, you know, I had like long black hair and my black metal shirt and stuff. Um, yeah, and then, you know, I lived in a lot of places, and I was always like, for example, in elementary school, I was the kid from the GDR. Then later on in my life, in my 20s, I moved to LA for 3 years, and there I was like the weird German. Now I live in Sweden, and I'm the weird German again. So I'm always an outsider, right? I always go my own way somehow. And I can just identify with Lucifer very much, and about, you know, occultism and Satanism and so on. I think I think everything is important. It's not just darkness, you know, there is light. You wouldn't have the darkness without the light. And life is the same way. Of course, the devil is a lot more interesting to me too. It's more fun, obviously, especially, you know, if you take it as a very literal Christian devil who stands for all the things that are forbidden if you are Christian, you know. And in Christianity, it wasn't very equal for women, for example. That's why, you know, I put myself on the cross on Lucifer 4.
So, well, Johanna, it was a pleasure to talk with you. It's because really likes Lucifer. So, thanks for
Thank
this
you.
interview. Thanks for this situation. Also, could you thank you for your time and congratulations on this new album. And perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallidium followers?
Yes, we are very excited that we will be coming back. I cannot tell you when exactly yet, but I'm working on it. And
Mhm.
it is probably going to happen sometime this year.
Okay.
So later in the year. So we're excited to come back to you.